Only a few of us will ever have the privilege of owning a mansion. It's fun to picture ourselves lounging by a huge pool or in a movie theater that happens to be in the basement. That being said, what would you do if a multi-million-dollar home was on the market for less than $20? A 111-year-old mansion in New Jersey has been put on the market for $10. The only thing is that there's one gigantic catch.
Hello, wonderful people. I'm Scott Leffler for WonderBot. Today's video is about
A mansion is on the market for $10 and no one wants to buy it.
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
It's beyond hard to find a reasonably priced house in the New York metropolitan area. According to recent Zillow listings, the median price of homes currently listed in the area is $342,000. That's not exactly pocket change for most people. So when a gorgeous mansion went on the house for $10, people flocked to the open house. Weirdly, no one's made an offer on the suburban monstrosity. You won't believe the reason the mansion never had a buyer. The 111-year-old colonial-style mansion is located in the suburban town of Montclair, New Jersey. It's the ideal location for any family looking for their forever home. The area is surrounded by great schools, country clubs, shops, and restaurants. And not to mention, it's all very green. Well, until winter hits. The mansion is even located on a road called Pleasant Avenue. If that's not a selling point, we're not sure what is. The Essex County Township of Montclair boasts a population of 37,669 people. That's a perfect number if you're not too much of a city person, but you don't want to live in a tiny suburban bubble. Not to mention that Manhattan is a short 45-minute car ride away. So why aren't people jumping at the opportunity to live so close to the city and yet still be able to come home to a quiet town? Keep watching to find out. Renowned local architect Dudley S. Van Antwerp built the mansion back in 1906. Van Antwerp opened his design practice in 1900 and from there went on to build the famous Montclair Wauketung Avenue Congregational Church, as well as the Yacht Club in Bayside, Long Island. So what's so special about this residential mansion? It's beautiful and set on a great plot of land. But why go through all the trouble of listing it for only $10? The mansion is nearly 4,000 square feet, so it's not exactly what one would call tiny. That square footage doesn't even include all the amenities around the property. The inside consists of 6 bedrooms and 3.5 baths, meaning there's no lack of space. The new buyers could make those rooms into anything they want. The possibilities are endless. If the mansion doesn't already have one, we would build a library. Aside from the actual mansion, the grounds are something else altogether. The house sits on about 2.5 acres of land, which is plenty of room to put a few fun features around the property. The mansion comes with its own private tennis court and gazebo, as well as a carriage house. Renovations to make a game room in the carriage house would be amazing. Needless to say, the property has some definite selling points. Considering the northeast suburban location, and not to mention the town that mansion is built in, it should be on the market for a bit more than what it costs to go to a fast food restaurant for dinner. The fact of the matter is the mansion should technically be listed at $1.35 million. That may sound steep, but considering the neighborhood and the surrounding multi-million-dollar homes, the price is pretty spot on. Aside from the famous architect, the mansion was home to the first African-American athlete to become captain of the Notre Dame football team, Aubrey Lewis. The Fighting Irish halfback is recognized as one of the state's greatest athletes, his old high school in Montclair even naming their field the Aubrey Lewis Sports Complex. Due to a heart murmur he had since birth, Lewis did not pursue a career in football. Instead, he decided on a different career path. Being the first African-American captain wasn't enough. Lewis went on to join the Federal Bureau of Investigation as part of its first training class to include African Americans. Even after his storied career, Lewis made his way back home to Montclair to settle down with his family. When he passed away in 2001 from heart complications, the BNE Real Estate Group purchased his estate, planning to build 8 homes on the property. The plan quickly fell through. When BNA Real Estate Group purchased the property, they made an agreement with Montclair's Historic Preservation Commission to preserve the estate due to its historical significance and celebrity status. Therefore, they weren't able to build on the land, and their original plan for the property fell through. Real estate agents are smart, though, and they had a plan B. They listed the mansion for a total sum of $10, but with that price came a huge catch. What deal could possibly be bad enough for people to turn down the opportunity to own a gorgeous piece of property? Well, as it happens, the mansion can't actually be lived in where it currently rests in Montclair. This means that whoever buys the mansion is also going to have to pay to move the entire thing to a different location. It now makes sense why no one is jumping at the opportunity. Talk about a plot twist. Carmen Warren of Montclair says it best. Where are they going to put it? Why would I want to buy such a big monstrosity of a house and don't know where to put it? That's a lot of house to move. We couldn't agree more. Problem is that whoever purchases the residence doesn't have a choice. Montclair town officials approved the subdivision application under the strict terms that if the mansion was sold, it would have to be relocated. Whoever purchases the mansion is going to be responsible for not only moving the residence within a quarter mile of its current location, but they must pay for all costs that come with buying a new home. The buyer is also going to be required to go through all the necessary renovations before lifting the mansion, which all needs to be paid out of pocket. That's going to get real expensive real fast. Due to the old age of the mansion, the seller is offering $10,000 to help with any renovations that need to be made throughout the property. That's a generous offer at first glance, but when you think about all the necessary repairs on top of the relocation, the cost is going to be astronomical. The total effort is estimated to cost around $200,000, which is still less than what the mansion's worth, but it's still a great deal of money. Not including the moving cost, the buyer will have to do lead paint and asbestos checks. Considering the age of the mansion, it's a very real concern. Lorena White, a real estate agent for Prominent Properties Sotheby's International Realty, said, in addition to moving it, the cost of any kind of repairs and renovation required that it be done to historic guidelines. That tends to be expensive. Whoever buys this home has got to be the world's biggest history buff. Pretending there was no price involved and no renovations had to be made, how on earth do you even start moving a house this size? There are definitely going to be some mailbox casualties, not to mention tree branches are going to be falling down left and right. As odd as it sounds, picking up and moving an entire house is not exactly unheard of, and in some cases can be financially beneficial to the homeowners. In 2007, Julie and Randy Olson of Brook Park, Minnesota uprooted their entire home after the value suddenly plummeted and they couldn't secure a loan to build a new one. Luckily, one of their friends was selling their home for $1, and we thought $10 was cheap, to help a future wildlife preserve. The Olsons bought the property and had their Brook Park home moved for $22,000, a fraction of what the property's worth. If the Olson story is any indication, relocating a house is possible and can be financially beneficial if you go about it in a smart way. In some cases, it might be a sensible thing to do. Not to mention that once it's relocated, you're not going to have to worry about those costs ever again. Maybe a fix here and there, but nothing like the initial cost of renovations and uprooting an entire home. Just think about it. If you have the money, you can have this gorgeous mansion valued at $1.35 million, as well as a little piece of American history. All of it at a startlingly low price nonetheless. Big picture, a beautiful home, great suburban location, nice story to tell friends at any gathering, and a whole lot of room to entertain. All you need to do is skip buying a movie ticket every week. Unfortunately, due to the lack of buyers, the house was demolished in May of 2018. Because of the subdivision agreement, the Historical Society had no ground to stand on, and therefore they had no choice but to let the town take over the land. Where the once colonial-style mansion stood, there is now a more modern development consisting of 8 single-family homes. The Collection. They did keep a bit of history there, renaming the road Lewis Court.